All right. So again, welcome everybody and welcome back who is not the first time here. And let me start with sharing the screen as usual. All right. Let me do that and present. All right. Again, welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about the functional modeling in action with PRIZ Platform. Now, functional modeling, this is actually part of the course that we are using for onboarding people, or just a sliver of it that we're going to present. The format is going to be very similar to most of our webinars. It's going to be a short presentation first, and then in this case we'll switch a little bit in a little bit different format. Anatoly will be driving the actual functional part of it. And please chime in if you have any questions. But still be mindful that we have a very limited time. And as usual, we start with a quote. In this case, the quote is from Albert Einstein. Any fool can know, the point is to understand. And I think that's that's one of the key things from functional modeling and what we can get from functional modeling, as you will see. I feel like I'm forgetting something on this slide. Anatoly, can you remind me?
Maybe just to add that functional modeling is a lot of people are interested in functional modeling,
Right.
and you can mention
Right.
it.
So we definitely talked about functional modeling in the past, in the previous webinars, and we've seen an interesting uptick in the interest of what the functional modeling is from other people, not necessarily from the trees community. And that's that's another reason why we decided to make this webinar and not any other, under the title of PRIZ Academy as well. All right, so let's kick it up. First of all, I want to explain the power of functional modeling and why is it so important and why is it different from what we typically know in current modeling or majority of current modeling. So usually when people working on systems like this one, the amplifier, or even software systems and so on, people drawing diagrams all the time, drawing components, the connections between them, potential interactions between them, and it's all great. And for example, somebody can build this circuit on a board, and it may or may not work. But what's lacking in this in these diagrams is the functions, right? You're showing the components, you have shown the connections, but you don't see the functions. And what that means, you don't this diagram or these types of diagrams not necessarily describing again the particular function of a component or of the entire system, and not necessarily even gives you an understanding. Sorry, can you guys just mute? Okay. It doesn't provide a particular understanding of a function of a specific component, right? On the contrary, the system functional modeling, it also shows the product, the components, the supersystems, which is what makes the system, but it also describes the functions between the components as well as between the system and the product itself and the external system, what we call in substance systems, what we will dive into in a moment. The functional model basically helps us to understand how the system works in its entirety, and it helps us to make decisions and eventually innovate. Now, as a definition, what we like to do and what the functional model actually gives us The functional modeling is an analytical tool that helps us to define what matters. This is how we decide to call it. First of all, as I mentioned, we learn how the system works in a very, very small details or in the details that we decide to go into. It defines the functional rank and problematic rank of each and every one of the components, which is a very important, and we'll talk about that in a moment. It helps us to solve problems as a result, because without understanding how the system functions and without understanding how what the system is even built for and what each component is built for, we can't make any decisions and of course not improve the system. So the functional modeling helps us to do that. And of course, impact what matters, because what we've seen, and I'm sure everybody in this room seen it many, many times, where people making changes to their systems all the time, but do these changes actually matter? Do they actually provide a value? And that's many times the answer is no. We're making changes many times for the sake of changes and not for the sake of actually improving something. Now, let's talk about the fundamentals of, since we wanted to be a little bit more practical in this webinar, let's talk about the fundamentals of the functional modeling and how it's built. The core concept of the modeling is always the interaction between two components when you have a function between two components. And usually one component applies a function to another component. And it's as simple as subject, function, object, or function, subject, action, object, right? So subject and object in this case, subject in this case, it's a carrier of the function. It's whoever is providing the function. And then, of course, the object is whoever receives the function. Now, the subject and object, these are the components that have the interaction with them and interacting with the system, where a function, and that's very, very important definition, a function is something that changes parameter of another component or of an object. Okay. Did I miss here something, Anatoly?
No, everything is fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So, subject, action, object, it's actually a very powerful thing. And we can surely call it in short, the SAO, if anybody will to. But when we're defining the subject, action, object, like the example here, the car, car moves a person, the power here is that it actually defines two things. First of all, it defines the problem that this thing solves, right? We're solving the problem of moving a person. That's a very important thing to understand. The other thing that it shows us the solution of how we actually do that. We're using a car, the car moves the person. So if you think about it, we have both of these things in this one kind of formula. It's the problem that we're trying to solve and the solution that how we're solving it in this particular case. But what does it mean? It means, first of all, once we understand the problem that we need to solve, potentially there is much more solutions that we can apply to solve this problem, right? We can move not only by a car. Sorry, I'll mute people. We can move not only by a car. We can use a truck. A person can walk. There's so many ways that we can move a person, right? But also, car moves a person. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is the only thing that it can solve. It can solve other things like moving cargo, moving different loads, mail, you name it, right? So this is a very powerful thing to understand, that once we have that definition, we can be much more mindful about the problems that we're solving and the solutions that we can apply to it. So let's define a function, first of all. The function is a subject. I'll just read through that. The function is a subject of a subject always results in parameter change of an object. Again, that's a very important thing to understand, that basically if there is no parameter change as a result of a function, it's not a function. Period. End of story. Right? If we are thinking about a beer, something that Anatoly likes to give as an example, it's not a function because it doesn't change change a parameter of anything really. But if we drinking that beer, then yeah, we potentially moving that beer and so on. So it's if we following this rule, it's actually very easy to understand which is what is a function and what is not. It has to do with the parameter change of an object. Now, let's talk about the process of how do we build a functional model. First of all, we need to describe the system that we're building it for, right? And something that we did see in a lot of cases in a lot of engineering teams where people don't necessarily think about a particular system. They dive into problem solving immediately uh, without even understanding what's the system or what's the problem space in general, right? So we have to describe and understand in details what is the system that we're trying to analyze by this functional model. A step that skipped many, many times. The next thing, we need to identify the product. Every function, as we will talk in a moment, every system, as we will talk in a moment, typically has only one product. It's that product that the system was built for, either to create or improve or again apply a function to that product. We have to identify the components that belongs to the system or the super system components. It's usually the components that not directly part of a system or that we can't even affect or change. Or what we've seen many times, it's the components as well that we don't even want to change, so we want to kind of mark them as super system components. And of course, identify and map the functions between the pair of components. Now, once we have that map, then and only then we can calculate the functionality of every component and the harmfulness of any component. And we will see that in a moment. Once we have that map, we can be a much more conscious and much smarter in making decisions and propose any type of improvements or changes in the system. Now, let's talk about the product. We touched about this just a moment ago, but how do you identify the product? First of all, product, usually there's one product for every system. It's a thing or service or product or anything that the system was built for originally. It was designed for originally, right? And most engineering systems, they have only one product, or we very rarely building a system that will with two products in mind. I can't even think about one at this point. Now, the product is the main function, or what we call a base function of system. Let's take an example, a car, right? If the car is our system, what is the purpose of the car? Right? The purpose of the car is usually transport. In this nice car, it's transport people, right? So people must be the product of this system called the car. So as you can see, the main function, the basic function from the system to the product determines the actual product, right? And another thing that we will see in a moment, the product is always not part of a system itself. It's outside of a system. Now, components, as an example, it's something that builds that system. For example, in this case, it could be wheels, brakes and transmission, and so on, the engine, and everything else that actually builds the car. Now, the super system, as we mentioned, it could be anything that affect the system, or in this case, car, or the car affects it. But we can't change it. We can't really control it in any way, and it's really not an integral part of that system. And an example here: air around us, right? A rain or weather. It's not anything that we can control. Pollutant, again, around us, not necessarily what we produce. A road that we drive on, and so on. There's potentially so many examples in just a car. Now, a typical functional modeling, this is a repeat from a previous first slide in here, can look something like this. There's a internal integral parts or components of the system that have an auxiliary functions within or between them, and that's what constructs the engineering system, right? The supersystem components, these are, as we mentioned, it's something outside of the system, but the system either affected by them or affects it. And then, of course, the product and what I mentioned before, the basic function is applied usually to the product. It's not always one function, sometimes multiple components applying the function on the product, but it's still going to be a basic function. Now, when we're defining these interactions and these functions between the components, we want to be conscious about how we call them, right? Every one of these arrows actually defines the function, so we want to name them, and we want to name them as simple as possible. So a single word, ideally, something moves something, or something heats something else, and so on. We really don't want to have the entire story in there. It should be one single word. And if it's not, usually it means that we either don't understand or we didn't break the system up in details enough to have it one single word. Now, another word about functions is we can split the functions into two groups and then additional subgroup. The two groups, it's a useful function and a harmful function. Useful function is something that we usually, something that the system was designed for, right? An engine moves, eventually moves, wheels, it depends on the engine. Engine moves something, right? That's a useful function that the engine was designed for. But a harmful, we can treat it as a byproduct, like an engine heats an atmosphere around us, which is, it's not what we designed it for. We didn't design an engine to heat ourselves, right, to warm up, but it's there. There's currently nothing we can do about it. And then the useful functions or the designed functions, they potentially can split into additional subgroup, which is a useful, excessive, and insufficient. In an example would be here, a heater was built to whatever, for example, warm up water, right? But it could be potentially excessive, so it means overheating, right? Or insufficient, that's exactly the other way around. It doesn't heat fast enough or well enough, and so on. Now, if we think about the contradiction terms, right? The useful and harmful functions together, that's exactly a contradiction or a conflict. It means this is potentially where the problem's coming from, as we will see later. Same with excessive and insufficient, right? And the reason for that is, again, we build, let's say, an engine to move ourselves eventually, but it also heats the surroundings, right? Heating the surroundings, it's not something that we want, but it's there, and potentially it's something that may or may not cause different problems. So we're always on a lookout for these contradictions and zones of conflict. Anything else I missed?
No, everything is fine.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah. So we will end by this, and we'll move to Anatoly's presentation on his side.
Okay, let me share my desktop and let me remove this one. Can you see my desktop?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is our website. And by the way, you can read a lot about functional modeling if you go to blogs, and you can read here. In order to get to the platform, you need to sign up or log in. I have my account in the platform. Let me log in. Okay. Our platform is an integration of project management and AI and creative thinking tools. I will pick up a project that we already been working on. This project about wafer breakage that are occurring at flash heating. This is from semiconductors, from microchip manufacturing, but it's not necessary to be a PhD or even master of science in semiconductors to understand it. Very trivial situation. There is a chamber which there is nitrogen inside in order to not to get air to get into the chamber. We have a pedestal made from quartz, and we have wafer. It could be wafer, it could be plate. It doesn't matter. A wafer, and we should heat it very, very fast. Therefore, we have a bottom light which heats up to, it works continuously and heats up to 400 degrees centigrade. And we have flashlight or top light, which knows how to heat the wafer up to 1000 degrees centigrade within 1 or 2 seconds. This process is needed to activate implants. Otherwise, let's say to activate and not to let to make diffusion of ions and atoms within the wafer. So, and what's happened? Relatively often, wafer got broken. Yeah, this is a breakage, and this is a strategy. It's very pity. It costs a lot of money, and you need to clean up the tool after that. We analyzed root cause with other tools like cause and effect chain, and we found that a wafer jumps and hits these pins. By the way, the pedestal contains 6 bumps, and wafer is located on all these bumps, and there are 6 centering pins, and wafer flies, hits the pins and got broken. Okay, what to do? Let's create functional model. I will pick up this picture and we'll use it. We go to the creative thinking tools. I open new one. Functional model is here. And if you forgot how to use this tool, you can click learn more and read comprehensive explanation how to use this tool. And let's go. So on the first page, we see a description of your system. Okay, and we can write the wafer breakage, breakage, and I will pick up this picture. We will need it for creation of functional model. And let's create a model. So product, how to define product? Very easy. We should ask ourselves what this system was built for, is built for. Very easy. The system built to heat wafer. Product is wafer. Wafer. Great. We have chamber. We have chamber. Let me change it to the component. We have chamber, and this chamber. Oh, I'm sorry. And this chamber, we have a super system. We have ear. Why do we need chamber? In order to stop ear. Okay, we have ear, and ear is a super system. By the way, I can replace it to component to super system. Doesn't matter, and I can manage it, move it, or so. So chamber, what it does, it stops. Yeah, it stops ear from the penetration of the ear inside of the chamber. So we have pedestal that are made from quartz. Okay, and this chamber holds keeps pedestal, and pedestal has 6 bumps, 6 bumps, and this pedestal keeps 6 bumps, and wafer lays on these 6 bumps. 6 bumps keep wafer, but it not clamps. It's just keeps, like table. Let's say it keeps insufficiently. Okay, so yeah, sure.
Maybe better naming for this function. Maybe it holds, and then
Holds.
basically
Okay,
if
yeah.
it's not
Okay.
not holding it tight, then
Yeah. Okay.
a
Hold.
little bit
Yeah.
clearer.
Okay. Great. So we have let's have a look on our system. We have 6 centering pins. We have centering pins. Okay. We have 6 centering pins. Great. Also, pedestal keeps it. Yeah. Keeps it. Let's make some order. I like it. You know, when you move it, you have time to think. So 6. What do they do? They first they make wafer to be on the right place in the center. Direct, and yeah, this is good. And we know the 6 centering pins, wafer moves, and it hits. I'm sorry. It hits. So what's happened? They also stop when wafer moves. 6 centering pins. They stop. They stop moving wafer. And this is not what we build it for, therefore it's harmful. Okay, let's continue. Let's have a look on this chamber is like separated in two parts, bottom part and top. Okay, in the bottom part, we have bottom light. Let's three. I don't remember. Four.
Yeah, 300.
Oh, 300. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
300 degrees centigrade, which is working constantly. And what is it? It hits the wafer, but it's not the heat that we needed. We don't build it in order to heat wafer. Okay, let's mark it as insufficient. And we have we have
We should name that function.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's hits. Yeah, hits. It's not for the process. It's you know, it doesn't make any sense. You know, maybe I need to make it market as a super component. We will check it later on. Okay, just a moment. So we have bottom gas. We have nitrogen, bottom gas. Yeah, I mean, we have the gas that is located here and actually has different temperature and has different pressures. Therefore, wafer moves. So this bottom light, heats heats okay, heats nitrogen bottom gas, and it heats wafer, and also heats wafer, which is not so good. We don't need this gas to heat the wafer. More than that, he also moves a wafer, which is also harmful. We did not do it for okay. And we have what we have more. We have a nitrogen top gas. This gas is over here as the top, and this top part of the gas. This what's happened? This also this moves. Oh, I'm sorry. This bottom gas, first of all, moves. It tries to you know, to mix with the bottom gas, is trying to mix with top gas. So it moves, and it's not good. No, it's okay. We can
It is
leave
what
it.
it is, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I agree. I agree. So, and what else? And
It means that
opposite.
the top gas, the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
opposite. In opposite. Yeah, it also moves. Oh, moves. Okay. Let's keep it. And we have one more component, which is top flash light, which is 1000 degrees centigrade for 1-2 seconds. Very important component, and this component actually heats the wafer, and this is a basic function. This is what we need. This is what we need. Heats. We actually need, this is the only, I would say this is the only, let me move it. This is the only function that we needed. So, and this flush is also heat stop gas, of course, heat. And this is completely not good. And of course, top gas also moves wafer, moves, and this is not good. What else we have here, which is stopped by chamber, but why do we need nitrogen? We need nitrogen within the chamber in order to not to allow to penetrate air into the chamber. So this is also stops here, and the bottom and top gas also stops. Okay, what else? What do we have? Let's have a look on the ranking. The platform will calculate ranking, and there are two main parameters of our system. Here is an explanation, operation effectiveness. This is actually a ratio between functional and problematic functions of different components of entire system. And the ratio, if ratio before below 2, it will be red. If it's above 2 and above, it will be green. It's not so, we're not so bad. Operational perfectness, it shows how far we are from ideality. Ideal system is systems that doesn't exist. A system that doesn't exist but provides function. So if we have function without components, this is what we need. So actually, to innovate, to improve something, it means to reduce number of components and increase functions, sync functions and not components. So I would say this parameter is not so bad. And here we see the most functional, one of the most functional components is a flashpoint, of course. And we can click and we see here recommendations. And we see here a button, system recommends us to go to the 40 principles to try to resolve this contradiction, because this flight, as you can see, it's this flight hits gas, and well, which one? Yeah, it has a useful function and harmful function. Let me make it better. Okay. So, but it's we're talking about wafer breakage, and we know that wafer moves and hits the 6 pins. Let's have a look on 6 pins. Oh, you see, they also have two functions. One function, useful function, it directs, and harmful function is stops. When wafer moves, it stops. And we have here a button which will lead us directly to 40 principles. I'm sure you know like 40 principles, 40 inventive principles, and we will make separated additional webinar for 40 principles. Very, very strong tool for generation ideas and solutions. And in our platform, it is connected, integrated. So engineering contradiction is already on place. So if we have 6 centering pins remaining, by the way, if you don't remember how to work with this, you always have this helper, learn more. Okay, 6 centering pins remains as they exist. Then something good, they direct the wafer, but they stop the wafer when it's moving. I can add when the wafer moves. Okay, I can write here whatever I want. The next step, I should define improving parameter. Improving parameter is the wafer will be on the center of the pedestal. Okay. And now I can choose make a choice choose the parameter, general parameter, which is corresponding to our specific parameter. And I think it should be, let's pick up shape. Yeah, shape, the internal or external. So it should be in the center where it should be shape. Oh, it's adjacent. Great. So the next step, we need to analyze worsening, to find worsening parameter. Worsening parameter is the pins stop moving wafer, and result in the breakage. Okay, breakage.
Yeah,
So
results in stress, I guess.
stress. Okay, let's okay. Yeah. Okay, results in the stress moving wafer. Okay, let's pick up relevant. Yeah, we have exactly strengths. Yeah, strengths, the extent of which to which an object is able to resist changing response to force. Great. So now we can go to the principle, and Altshuler matrix will show us relevant principles. It means a similar problem was solved with using this principle. Flexible shells and thin films. We can read this explanation and think. By the way, we have different explanation here. We have business application. We have chemical engineering. Maybe we have something microelectronics. We have even microelectronics. This is explanation. What does it mean? Flexible shells and thin films from the standpoint of microelectronics. So something flexible, something not direct. Okay, let's have a look on another, the next principle, sphericality, curvature. It it says let's start with general explanation. So instead of rectangular parts, oh, we need to choose to change form. Great, and I can write down, I can in the idea to use slanted, slanted or slanted pins instead of vertical.
Straight ones instead of
Straight,
vertical.
yeah,
Straight,
vertical.
yeah.
Okay, vertical pins. And I can save, and it will be saved in Idea Manager. And if I go back, okay, what can I do? I can, I can version this model. Let me clone it. I can clone it. And now I have this model, copy of this model, and I can change 6, doesn't matter, slanted centering pins. If I have slanting centering pins, what is this? I don't.
Somebody's drawing.
Okay. I don't need this one. They will never stop it. I can show you. Of course, we knew how to do it, and it should be something like this. Of course, we solved this problem. I just wanted to show you. You see what's what idea is there, and if I go to this model, I don't need it. It will never stop, and I can remove this this function. And if I go to ranking, I can see that new version is much better. Is much better. Guys, we just don't have enough time. It's hard work, but we can continue to change the model, and we can again to make copy and for instance to remove nitrogen or reduce pressure, or just work with in the vacuum, and or maybe we need some keeper clamped the wafer. We can simulate different ideas and different constructions. So this is hard work, and this is so-called innovation, because a lot of people think the innovation is when they sit in the conference room, drink coffee, and just through ideas. They said it's brainstorming. I always explain it's not brainstorming, it's brain guessing, because innovation is very hard work. It's systematic work in systemic work with the system. We should understand our system, and we should use the instruments that help us to solve problems and to innovate. So
I don't remember if you maybe I missed it, but did you show the comparison and ranking between these two models?
yes, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I
you can
missed
see
it.
this parameter is much better, and even operational perfectness is looks much better. But again, you can continue. You see, bottom function has no function. Why do we need it? And we will see recommendation. By the way, any changes will be saved in the system. And when you go to the report, you will see all changes made in your system. Very, very
Cool.
strong tool. So thank you.
All right. We
Uh,
have about 8 minutes left. If anybody has any
okay,
questions.
I just wanna okay, maybe to show how to get there. If you want to use this platform, you can go to the click on upgrade. We have here personal free platform, personal fee plan, which is you can try everything. There is some limitation in tool usage, but you also can create functional models. It's good to try, but not good enough for serious work. If you are going to work, we have Personal Pro, which costs only $25 per month, or if you pay for a year, 2 months free. No limitations, but you are alone in your workspace. Of course, you can share your screen, you can, but you are alone. And we have a workspace for teamwork. Here, companies buy seats. Each seat costs $50 per month, or if you pay for a year, 2 months free. And people buy seats. You can remove John and add Bill instead. It seats like in the theater, in the cinema, and 10 seats is 5,000 for a year. No limitations. Everyone can create unlimited amount of projects, unlimitedly use all tools, and so on. Enterprise, some companies may have some special requirements, and we can do it. So I'm done.
Thanks, Anatoly. Any questions while we have a little bit of time left? And again, we're
Alex,
here to.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a reason why when the contradiction table is pulled up that one of the much more modern versions, for example, from Daryl Mann, why the contradiction table isn't the 48 by 48 instead of the 60-year-old 39 by 39?
Oh,
There's no particular reason for it.
no. It's a matrix is 38 by 38, but number of principles are 40.
Understand. I'm talking about the parameters in the contradiction table. The newer versions that been developed primarily by Daryl Mann, but others are at least 48 by 48.
Yeah,
so there are
I
9
see.
more additional parameters.
Yeah, I think we will do it. Let's say this platform is not just automation, what you can find in the internet. This platform is our experience, especially my 45 years experience. I have huge experience in 39 by 39. I still didn't touch deeply the matrix by Daryl Mann. We will do it, and maybe we will add another. You will be able to choose any of them. By the way, we are constantly working on the platform, and it is changing every day.
I understand. The 9 additional parameters are very useful for some more modern problems. They just include some things that just weren't important 60 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very, very good.
And yeah, it's
Yeah,
usually.
Thank you.
like the intangibles parameters, which
Okay.
Darren has put in this new contradiction matrix. That is becoming quite a lot important, especially
Yeah.
for business cases.
Okay. Very
Yeah,
good.
we can definitely look into those.
Sure. Well, we have huge plans. We are thinking about scientific effects also to integrate to our platform. Now we are working on additional tool, which is change flow thinking. When you're going to make some change in your product, in your process, and your life, you want to move from, I don't know, from San Francisco to Dublin, and you can write down some tasks and steps, and you can analyze using different creative thinking tools. We already have 11, and the 12th will appear in Alex, I believe, in 1-2 weeks. Definitely.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get there in a couple of weeks.
Yes, and additionally, we're working on AI and AI, but we're very carefully integrating it because not to disturb. AI is a helper, not a problem solver. Never. It cannot solve problems. It can just help us to think, and nothing more than that.
Right.
I have a question as well.
Sure.
We have a time, still time, yeah. So I was looking at the functional model you prepared, Anatoly, and I had an idea that maybe we can completely remove the pins, and the direction function can be replaced by 2 opposite pressurized flow of nitrogen. So
Great.
yeah, this
Great.
is very interesting, and this is how you can also
Great.
think on fly.
Great. One of my students said, we need 2 similar lamps on the top, on the bottom, in both sides to have the same pressure. He got 100 directly, 100 because of this idea. And you can simulate all these ideas. You don't need to create it. You can simulate it in the functional model and compare and make a reasonable material to make a reasonable change, a reasonable decision, which direction to go. Yeah, right. Yeah, very good, very good.
But what I noticed that the product in your functional model has nothing to act back. And when I am making my functional models, so I often see that product also affects the objects, the components, and I wonder whether it is an indirect evidence that I selected the product wrongly.
No, I think no. Yeah, let's say a product. You can say product always something that system was created for. Sometimes people say, for instance, car is built to move people. So people is a product. But if you wanna, for instance, to improve your engine, you can say the product of my car is CO. This is what exhaust, which is coming out through exhaust. And in this case, I can say my product is a CO, and I need to modify my system to reduce number of CO. But the strength of the right program product is that if you say my product is people, it will covers everything, also CO. if you create a full, but you know, first of all, you are free to pick
Mhm.
up
A product, yeah.
a product, and you know, we cannot say functional model right or not right, more right, less right. This is the instrument for thinking, and if you used it for thinking and found solutions, great. Even some, you know, errors were not exactly correct, but you found solution.
Okay.
This
I
is a
understood
this
really.
is a great. This
Okay.
is a fantastic.
Understood,
This is
Anatoly. Thank you for the answer.
Right. We 2 minutes after. Again, I'll stop recording in a second. The recording will be published and shared with everyone. And please reach out with any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.